Hi everyone, Vivek this side. In this video, I wanted to cover my journey of learning to polish my game and make a leap from proof of concept stage to the finalist stage and finally make the game live in Android Play market. So the game is live, the link is in the description below. Now this game is not even close to the game you would like to make, neither I expect this game to achieve downloads. This was just a small project to see what all it takes for a game to be live. So this is the video of the proof of concept game that I developed initially. This was based on a game I played during floppy age. I don't recall the name of that game, but there was a car and it was jumping obstacles and shooting down other things. And I surely pressed a lot of spacebar in that game. Anyways, in today's age, you can compare this game to Dino Runner probably from Google's Chrome browser. The game will attain speed as it proceeds and you just have to jump over the obstacles. It's a very simple game. Now my POC is working fine. It's spawning objects as you can see, repeating backgrounds, basic artwork is there. Of course I wasn't happy with all the elements and the goal was to make it as best as I can without changing a lot of things to make it a final version. I do take part in some of those game jams. After the jam, those games don't see the light of the day. So this attempt was more for myself to see whether I can complete a prototype game or not. So the first thing I did is planned out my activities which I wanted to perform and the changes I wanted to make in this game. So this is the list that I compiled. So these are the basic elements: paragraphics, animations, sound effects, explosion and particle effects, tinkering with the game mechanics to make sure it's fun to play, advertisements, Google Play integration for player login and leaderboard, and finally user interface. I use Trello as a project management tool which works well for me as it's fast to maintain. It gives you a nice snapshot of where you are today. So here's a snapshot of the final done track looks like. Right. So I'll just tackle these one by one and I'll show you a couple of screenshots from Unity of my game as well. Describe my process of polishing this game. Now it might not look like much, but I redid my graphics, especially the main actors with some basic pixel animation. So here it is. And here's the animation for tire rotation and I'm merging these both of them in Unity. Then car run animation and crash animations. So if you look at the game, you will see how those elements work. These previews might not give an accurate picture. Now when you are changing your graphic elements in Unity, for me what works best is using empties for all of your characters and then attaching all your components including your sprites to your empty. Okay, moving on to the sound part. Sound part is pretty straightforward. I just use a free graphics tool to generate sound effects, which I use for jump, death, explosion, and a repeated sound for the game start. Now the next part is explosions and particle effects. I am using particle effects for explosion, car jump and landing, and for the environment feel. So you will see slow moving particles, pixelated particles going through the game. For car run animation, the smoke that is coming from the behind, I created those particles within the animation in the pixel program. I didn't create them in Unity because I didn't like the way the particles were behaving in Unity. So I just wanted a bit of a cartoony feel to that. So here are my particles. Yeah. Okay. For the game mechanics, now this part took a lot of tinkering. Thank God it's not a complicated game, otherwise it would have been a nightmare. But what I found is when I created the game in POC stage, play around a lot with this one. And that's what the concept stage is for. You are not worried about your graphics, you're not worried about the sounds, you just want to make sure that the game feel and plays nicely. So things like what should be the starting speed, how fast the stages should progress. And now there is no easy solution to this or a fixed parameter which you can follow. You'll have to play your game gazillions time to see what works best for you. And feedback from others is really helpful at this stage. yeah, which I definitely took. Now the game might be slow for some players, it might be faster for others, but your target should be to cover the maximum number of players you can. The next part is advertisement. I have never worked with Unity animations before this game, and as an indie developer, this is an essential tool. So I took the dive with this project. It wasn't very difficult, but surely it was time consuming as you have to configure your game in two different places, Unity Play Store as well as Unity Console, sorry, and Google Play Store. And then there are certain things like keys which you have to match up in both of them. So yeah, I mean, definitely you should do it one time to make sure you are comfortable with all the elements. So finally I ported the advertisement works fine out of the box of Unity, and I highly recommend using those. And what I did with my advertisement is that instead of showing it every time, which is very very irritating, trust me, I tweaked the code so that now it's appearing only 30% of the time when you die, which is bearable. The next part is user interface. So all the buttons and the basic functionality to start the game, pause the game, and show high score, etc. So I created that in the final version, and they can take a bit of time just because they are very very boring, but they are necessary evil, and you want to make sure that your game elements are matching the theme with your game. So you might have to go to your back to your artboard and match up with the theme. Now I am still hiding and showing my panels within canvas with the code, and as I found this to be the most efficient way of segregating your pause screen with your initial screen. Do let me know what you are using for your games, and maybe I'm not doing something right. Next part was Google Play integration. I am using Google Play services for leaderboard and player login. So you can definitely write your own code for player logins, but for Android silent login this works best. You can get players details to then create a player at your own server. Now my game doesn't have its own dedicated server. It's not a multiplayer game, or I'm not using a lot of different elements, but definitely that can be achievable. So that was my aim, to see what all the capabilities of Google Play are there, and I highly recommend using that. For this one I'm just using it for simple leaderboard, and it works fine for that purpose. Okay, uploading on Google Play Store took me a good amount of time, as you need to create all the artwork based on their exact specification, width and height pixels. And as you can tell from my artwork, like banners and icons, I wasn't happy, but I had to rush that up. So this is my wish list for the future game, and things that I want to implement are like changing the themes, doing a paint job on the car, change your main character, dinosaur versus a car, new types of obstacles, in-game purchase works. I don't have a timeline when I will be able to achieve that, but definitely I'll roll out a small video once I have that ready. So yeah, that's it for this project. Thanks for watching.